Mistakes. We make them in our careers, in our relationships, in our decisions, and sometimes in the way we think about our own future. But there is a difference between making a mistake and repeating the same mistake again and again. A mistake can become a lesson. A failure can become experience. A painful chapter can become the wisdom that changes the rest of your story. Ziglar often emphasized that mistakes are part of the learning process, and that we should gain wisdom from our experiences rather than allowing them to discourage us. The first mistake is believing that your past has the authority to control your future. It does not. You may have made the wrong decision. You may have trusted the wrong person. You may have wasted time. You may have failed when you expected to succeed. But none of those moments has the power to decide who you become next. Your future is shaped by what you do now. We see it too. We see people carrying yesterday into today, and then wondering why tomorrow looks exactly the same. They remember every failure but forget every lesson. They remember every disappointment but forget their own strength. They keep asking, why did this happen to me? When the better question is, what can I learn from this? That question changes everything. The second mistake is being afraid to admit that you were wrong. Pride can become a prison. When you refuse to admit a mistake, you cannot correct it. And when you cannot correct it, you eventually repeat it. Admitting that you were wrong is not weakness. It is maturity. It takes courage to look at yourself honestly and say, I made a mistake, but I will not allow that mistake to define me. The third mistake is confusing failure with identity. You failed at something. That does not mean you are a failure. You lost an opportunity. That does not mean you have lost your future. You experienced rejection. That does not mean you are unworthy. Failure is an event, not a person. Ziglar's teachings repeatedly encouraged people to treat failure as something from which they can learn rather than as a permanent label on their identity. Think about how many successful people would have stopped if they had treated every mistake as the end. Imagine if every wrong attempt had convinced them that they were incapable. Progress would have stopped. Discovery would have stopped. Growth would have stopped. Sometimes the road to success is not a straight line. Sometimes it is built from wrong turns, corrections, setbacks, and second attempts. The fourth mistake is repeating what you already know is hurting you. Knowing better is not enough. You have to do better. If a habit is destroying your time, change it. If a negative environment is destroying your confidence, create distance from it. If procrastination is stealing your opportunities, take action today. If you keep making the same decision and getting the same painful result, perhaps the lesson is not that life is against you. Perhaps the lesson is that something must change. The fifth mistake is waiting for the perfect moment. There will never be a perfect moment. There will only be the moment you have. Too many people spend their lives preparing to begin. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they have more money. They wait until they have more knowledge. They wait until fear disappears. But confidence often comes after action, not before it. You learn by doing. You improve by trying. You become stronger by facing what scares you. And sometimes the biggest mistake is doing nothing because you are afraid of doing something wrong. The sixth mistake is ignoring the mistakes of others. There is wisdom in experience, but there is also wisdom in observation. Ziglar famously expressed the value of learning from other people's mistakes. You do not have to touch every fire to understand that it burns. You do not have to make every mistake yourself. Watch, listen, learn. Study the people who came before you. Their failures can become warnings. Their discipline can become your example. Their lessons can shorten your journey. And now, look at your own life. What mistake keeps coming back? What lesson have you been avoiding? What decision do you already know you need to make? Maybe you need to stop blaming your past. Maybe you need to forgive yourself. Maybe you need to change a habit. Maybe you need to stop listening to people who constantly tell you that you cannot succeed. Maybe you simply need to begin again. Remember this, your past can teach you, but it should not control you. Your mistakes can educate you, but they should not imprison you. Your failures can humble you, but they should not destroy your confidence. Learn, correct, improve, move forward. Because the goal is not to live a life without mistakes. That is impossible. The goal is to become wise enough not to make the same mistake forever. We see it too. We see people who fall and rise again. We see people who lose and learn. We see people who turn disappointment into determination. And perhaps the greatest difference between those who remain stuck and those who move forward is not that one group never fails. It is that one group refuses to waste its failures. So when you make a mistake, do not ask only, why did I fail? Ask, what did this teach me? When life closes one door, do not spend forever staring at it. Look for the next door. When you fall, get up wiser. When you lose, learn. When you fail, adjust. And when you begin again, begin with everything you learned from the last time. Because your story is not finished. One bad decision cannot destroy your entire future. One failure cannot define your entire life. One mistake cannot erase your potential. The past is a teacher, not your master. Learn from it. Leave it where it belongs. And step forward. Your next chapter is waiting. This is inspired by Ziglar.